All right, and with that, we welcome you back in here to the U6 Tap House on a gorgeous Thursday evening here from Erie, PA. What a crazy, exciting weekend we have ahead. Welcome in, everybody. This is the United Podcast, brought to you by our friends at John Russell Hospitality Group. I'm Isaac Petcash in what is a U6 Tap House that is decorated for St. Patrick's Day. No doubt about that. We are excited for the holiday, of course, that is to come. So much happening on, around, and outside of the Gannon campus. And for those of you that are celebrating the St. Patrick's Day weekend, of course, we wish you a safe and happy St. Patrick's Day weekend. But for those of you Gannon fans who are watching our athletics-related podcast, we know that you're more than excited for what is to come in the sporting world here in the next couple of days. Welcome in. This is the United Podcast. For those of you who have not been with us before, this is a show that is dedicated to all things Gannon athletics, interviews with student athletes, coaches, the fun and exciting segments that we do with our student athletes, and of course some behind-the-scenes features as well as we roll along through the month of March. It's a little bit lighter outside, still light as we are going here tonight on this Thursday. Daylight savings time doing many of you wonders for the extra daylight. Of course, though, sleep on Sunday may have been a little bit disjointed based on the time change. Lots to get into on our show tonight. It is Playoff Extravaganza is the real title of this show. It's kind of part two of what our Playoff Extravaganza preview was from last week. So let's show you what we have going on here on the show as we get set for tonight. Men's and women's basketball will be joining us in a recorded format in just a couple of minutes as Easton Bozzoli's team gets ready to host the regional, and Cleve Wright's team is ready to travel to IUP for their regional. We'll get into all of that in just a bit. We'll also give you a preview of men's wrestling national championships, which starts tomorrow and Saturday in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tom Boyd's team looking to win the team national championship in the process. And, of course, so much more to come, including our top 5 plays of the week and our dish of the day, which we'll get to in just a moment or so. We'll also reminisce on some exciting playoff action from the past week that we had away from Gannon University as well. Let's, of course, start, though, with our dish of the day. It's one of our favorites that we're bringing back for, appropriately, the St. Patrick's Day season. Here's our dish of the day on what will be the abbreviated St. Patrick's Day weekend. A lot of you have probably eaten a bunch of these, and probably a bunch of these at the U6 Tap House, the traditional Reuben sandwich. You never, ever can go wrong with this. It is as delicious as it looks, and it is our dish of the day that we're featuring for this week on March 12th. Here from the U6 Tap House, you can get this, of course, every single day while supplies last at the U6 Tap House and other locations. And again, a reminder, as we continue along throughout our podcast, if you come live in person, you can get our dish of the day and be part of our golden ticket giveaway, which we've been promoting all year. Every time you come to a podcast live and in person, you get an opportunity to put a ticket into a drawing where at the end of the year, we'll pick one lucky fan to win free season tickets all of next year for our ticketed events, plus reserved seating at every single Gannon athletic event this year. So get our dish of the day, the traditional Reuben here at the U6 Tap House and John Russell Hospitality, and make sure to enter yourself into the golden ticket giveaway. Also, some exciting news that we want to bring to you as well. Tomorrow, if you're not traveling to IUP for the women's basketball game at 2:30, their first round game is against Edinburgh tomorrow at 2:30. You can watch it right here, right where I'm sitting, right where all of your friends and fans are also going to be sitting as well. Right here at the U6 Tap House, we'll be hosting a Gannon women's basketball watch party on Friday at 2:30 for all Gannon women's basketball fans and fans alike who are wanting to watch the game from home. So make sure, great food, great atmosphere, great people, and big games as well. Gannon versus Edinburgh women's basketball you can watch right here at the U6 Tap House tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. for all of your basketball needs. Our playoff watch parties brought to you by U6 Tap House and John Russell Hospitality. All right, let's get into the show. In just a minute, we're going to preview what is to come this weekend. But before we do, we wanted to reminisce on the history that was made last weekend. We talked to you 2 weeks ago how Bella Phillips, Gannon women's wrestling sophomore, became the first ever women's wrestler to be an NCAA championship qualifier. This is, of course, the first year that the sport was an NCAA championship sport. But what Bella did by following it up in the national competition was nothing short of remarkable. Let's take a look at some of the highlights as we get ready to show you how she just did. This was from Friday night in what was a packed scene at the Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa. Phillips, the scene was simple. After a loss to Destiny Rodriguez, the number 2 seed following a first-round win, Phillips had one objective, and that was to win her very next match. And to do that, she would have to get by a very tough opponent. But if Phillips was able to win it, she'd become the first ever NCAA D2 All-American from Gannon Women's Wrestling. What did Phillips do? She absolutely dominated in a match that was not particularly close, taking down Genevieve and earning a tech fall victory to become Gannon's first ever women's wrestling All-American at the NCAA tournament. Bella Phillips would finish 5th. Head coach Erin Vandiver loving what she saw and loving the entirety of the weekend. An incredible job by the sophomore, who now has 70 career wins and in the process makes history in Iowa. Here's what she and coach had to say after an incredible milestone-making moment at national championships just this past Saturday.
Amazing. Truly incredible that I get to experience this and put this in the memory book. And I'm excited for future competitions and to come back here next year and the year after and just to keep doing it again. It was definitely a mental shift. Obviously, we've wrestled so many tournaments that we're kind of used to the quick comeback. But it was cool just to trust in Erin and Nyla and my teammates to be like, no, you got this. We'll cool you down. We'll pick you back up. So they were kind of thinking for me while I was kind of in the dumps about the loss. But it was really cool. Yeah, it's immense. It takes immense power to overcome, and there's so much in the sport that you don't really see on paper that goes on. So it's cool that I got my mentals right and I got my physicals right, and I just trusted in myself and my body because that's hard. But it took a lot, and I don't want to sugarcoat that, but I also want to be I don't want that to be put on the main stage, because I'm here and I'm ready and let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah, just amazing. So happy for her, for the program, for the school. But Bella just gives it all, and she takes it. She goes out on the mat, she takes what's hers. So I'm just extremely happy for her is an understatement. Just so proud and ecstatic that, she's an All-American, Gannon's first NCAA All-American. It's everything. It's our staple. She's our, our role model. She's our inspiration. Little girls looking up to her, big girls looking up to her, team members, first years, recruits looking at our program. She's the face of the program and showing that it can be done and what it takes, And she didn't start at the top. She started, a little bit lower and just worked her way to the top, and it can be done.
Sure can. Congratulations to Bella Phillips, an amazing run at NCAA National Championships, and we have no doubt we'll be seeing her and hopefully many other Gannon women's wrestlers on that stage once again next year when NCAA Championships come around for year number 2. That was the start of NCAA Championship season for our winter sports teams. This weekend starts the journey, and for some ends the journey for 3 more of our sports. Men's and women's basketball in their NCAA tournament as well in the Atlantic Regional. Men's wrestling, as we take a minute to talk about them, they have an incredible opportunity in front of them this weekend. Tomorrow and Saturday from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'll be traveling there myself after the conclusion of this podcast. They are heading to Men's Wrestling National Championships. 9 wrestlers will be competing for the Golden Knights. Many of them, in fact, all but one of them are seeded, Dorian Crosby being the top part of that list, seeded number 1. And just something to snack on, Gannon Men's Wrestling is seeded first, ranked first, both by the NWCA and by the Open Mat. If they can wrestle to their full potential, who knows? We could be seeing Gannon's first ever team national championship soon. So let's hope for that. Best of luck to Tom Boyd and his crew. We had them on last week's podcast in case you missed it. Let's shift our focus to basketball, shall we, as we take you through what's on tap for this weekend. So we mentioned men's wrestling and their jaunt to South Dakota coming up tomorrow and Saturday. Men's and women's basketball begin their regional journey as well. The women start their competition tomorrow, traveling to IUP for the Atlantic Regional. The Golden Knights, the number 2 seed, and they will get a familiar foe in the first round. Gannon faces Edinboro in a PSAC West battle that will be their 3rd matchup this season. That's at 2:30 tomorrow at IUP. And again, a reminder, you can watch that game live here at the UPick6 Tap House for our watch party. Men's basketball doesn't start their regional till Saturday, and that regional, of course, will be right here at the Highmark Event Center as Gannon earns the right to host. Easton Bizzoli's team will be taking on Charleston, West Virginia in their first-round matchup in what is a loaded top half of the bracket. 8 teams that could all easily make a claim to win the regional there on the men's side. Baseball back in action as well at Westchester this Friday and Saturday, and women's water polo is also home. Their home tournament taking place this weekend as they host the WWPA Erie Classic. 2 games on Saturday for the Golden Knights, 2 games on Sunday as well. Gannon Water Polo will celebrate Senior Day on Sunday before their 12:30 matchup against Penn State Barons. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the basketball, shall we? We'll start on the women's side, the team that is playing first. Cleve Wright's team earning the number 2 seed in the Atlantic region, traveling to IUP after a close, tough loss to the Crimson Hawks in the PSAC championship game last Sunday at the Highmark Event Center. But Coach Wright and this team have been here before. Cleve Wright has endured a number of regional tournaments, both home and away, and everyone on this women's squad, with the exception of one freshman, that's Katie Bowl, has at least one regional or more under their belts. So with experience and with adversity, a lot riding on the line for this women's basketball team as they get ready to open up action tomorrow. We talked with Cleve Wright right before he got on the bus to travel to IUP for said regional. He's excited, and you should be too. Take a listen. From the NCAA Women's Basketball Division II Atlantic Regional, and women's basketball just moments away from now from leaving on the bus to head to IUP, just a short couple of hour drive to the south for their first game Friday at 2:30 in what's going to be a really packed and really exciting Atlantic Regional. Coach, you've been a part of many of these now, and I'm sure for you it never gets old.
Oh, never gets old. You're playing in the NCAA tournament. It absolutely doesn't get old. Super excited.
Take me through how you just assess the regional as a whole. I asked Coach Bizzoli this. It's loaded like the men's side is for the Atlantic. A lot of teams that you've seen before, right? And we'll get to your first opponent in a moment. But size up the region for me and what you think the strengths are of the 8 teams that participate.
Well, it's super exciting to be playing the NCAA tournament, but it's also, as I look at it and I look at the field, it's a lot of respect for our conference and for our division, and no disrespect to everybody else, but when you got 4 in your division that make it, that certainly says a lot for the opponents that we've been playing. And then you look at the other teams that are in it. I mean, there's some really, really good teams. Winston-Salem State comes out, makes history at their school and winning the championship and having the season that they did. Fayetteville State's becoming, this is their 3rd year in a row, I think, that they'll be here. Glenville's been here before, so they know what's going on. And then Charleston, who we saw earlier in the year, came on and beat Glenville in the championship. So they got in there, and certainly they're a great team, and that's a former Gannon men's basketball player coaching at Charleston. So really cool. Yeah, small world, especially when you get to this time of year and you see teams from all across the country compete. Let's talk about your team a little bit. I know not the result you wanted in the PSAC championship game, but you hope you get that matchup 3 days from now. We'll see how that all transpires with the way the regional shakes out. But this is a team that hasn't lost on the road this season. You've been really, really good away from home. What learning lessons do you take from the IUP game and one that ended up being a down-to-the-wire finish? Well, I think, we just are striving to be the best version of ourselves. We need to be a little bit more disciplined on the defensive end, and some people are like, wait a minute, you guys are really, and we are, but we can be much better. And so we get a little bit more discipline on the defensive end, and we're capable of that, so capable of that. And then offensively, just be in an attack mode, be in an attack mode consistently, and trying to get to the rim, and trying to make some good things happen. Let's take a look at your first matchup. You mentioned familiar opponents, and it's the 3rd time you'll play Edinboro. You're 1-1 against them this season. 2 times that you've played them, both were close. You beat them in overtime at their place when they came back on you. This was back and forth at the Highmark that they ended up pulling out. You know Coach Callie Wheeler better than almost any other opposing coach. Take me through the matchup and what you look forward to on Friday. Well, I mean, I think Edinboro's a great team. Happy that they were able to make the tournament. And certainly, as you said, we both know each other really well. It's going to come down to who's going to be the best version of themselves in a tournament atmosphere on a neutral court. And we look forward to the challenge and excited about playing them on Friday. What from the first 2 games can you take that you will expect in this one, again, with knowing just how well both teams know each other? I just think they do a good job of they know they take away a lot of our actions, and they're consistent at that. Their post plays, they're athletic, they move really well. They've hit big shots against us. I think obviously we're going to tweak some things, we're going to change some things, but the bulk of what we're doing is going to be the same because again, we want to be the best version of ourselves. And I think if we do that, I think that we can have success with that.
When you look at the way the last few years have gone with this regional, the third straight year that the regional is being hosted at a different PSAC West institution, you had to go on the road last year, albeit just to Edinburgh, but still a hostile environment as IUP will be as well. What's the preparation in getting ready for a road tournament when you're playing a potential of 3 games in 4 days?
Well, I mean, you go with with the plan that you're going to stay the whole time, and you know that obviously that can always change, but you go with the plan of that. And I think you don't try to do anything extra. I think you're just trying to be who you are and the best version of who you are, and so I want to encourage my team and my players. You don't have to do anything super special. Just try to be who you are to the best of your ability. Let's make sure we stay connected as a group, connected as a team, make sure we're on the same page, that we stay connected, that we communicate, that we do our jobs, that we do what our responsibility is. And so we tend to have kids that are really good kids and they want to help everybody. And sometimes to the detriment of them doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so that's not a bad problem to have, quite frankly. A lot of times it's the opposite of that, and nobody wants to help anybody. So on some teams, and so for us, if we can do those things, I'll be happy.
So maybe a little bit of selfishness here and there when necessary, although that's not the way that this team is, and they're so selfless and they're also so experienced, right? I mean, this is another part of the advantage that you have. We've talked about it all year. All but one of your players will go into this regional having experience in at least one or multiple regionals before. How important will that be when you hit the floor on Friday, being able to draw on that experience?
Well, I hope they will draw from that. We do have quite a bit of experience, as you're saying, and I really want them to draw on that and have confidence in that, and don't rely on that as the only thing, but certainly have confidence in it.
Last question from me to you. I know you've talked a lot about the keys to success, but sum it up all for me in this. Gannon women's basketball will make a third straight Elite Eight if what?
If we are the best version of ourselves each day, starting with day one, and having that belief in themselves and that belief in each other.
No doubt they believe that they can get it done and move to another Elite Eight. We'll see if they indeed can get it done. As we mentioned, Edinburgh is the first opponent for the Golden Knights tomorrow at 2:30, and you can watch that game right here at the UPick6 Tap House with our Gannon Playoff Watch Party. If you're not going to IUP, of course, which we encourage that you do, be there and be loud. It's not a very long drive at all. It's a short, quick couple of hour trip down south. Make sure to make the drive. Call your boss right now. Say, hey, I'm taking off some work, if that's what you need to do, and be there or be here at the Tap House at 2:30 p.m. for our playoff watch party. That's women's basketball. They, by the way, are ranked number 7 at the end of the season, the final ranking before the national tournament begins. Women's basketball ranked number 7 in the country. Men's basketball ranked number 6 in the final rankings to end the year. We'll, of course, get to them in just a moment. But I want to also shout out very quickly our student athletes of the week this week. Congratulations to Matt Smith, who had a great week in the batter's box for baseball, and Peyton Neal, who has just been absolutely on a tear along with the rest of her team as acrobatics and tumbling took down a ranked Glenville State team on Tuesday. They're going to actually feature in our top 5 plays of the week in a lot of ways coming up in just a bit. But acrobatics and tumbling doing incredibly well. Peyton Neal and Addie Rothermel also received NCATA National Honors of the Week as well. You can find that story on our website at www.gannonsports.com. All right, that is the women's basketball side. Men's basketball here as well. They are hosting the Atlantic Regional as they get set for a very exciting 4-day overall tournament. Their first game will be on Saturday at the Highmark Event Center at 5 o'clock against Charleston, West Virginia. At the Highmark Event Center. And by the way, you can find ticketing information on how to purchase tickets on our website, www.gannonsports.com. This Golden Knight team, just like the women, though, looking for some redemption. They also lost their conference championship game back at home on Sunday in a 1-point stunner and just a heartbreaking defeat to Cal PA in that conference championship game in what was Gannon's third straight trip to the PSAC championship. But head coach Easton Bozzoli is not phased. He's not concerned. He's motivated, and so is his team to try to advance to a second Elite Eight in the last 3 years. Here's my conversation with head coach Easton Bozzoli as his team is less than 48 hours away from their first game in the NCAA tournament here at home. It's away from the regional. Hard to believe playoffs are already here. PSAC postseason wrapping up last week, and now we get ready for what will be a third consecutive regional tournament for the Gannon Golden Knights, and the second time in the last 3 years the men's basketball team has hosted said regional coach, but the first time at the Highmark Event Center after being at Prep 2 years ago. It's going to be nice to be back home officially for one of these.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to be able to do it here and to have the city of Erie and our students back, and to be able to come out and play in front of a great atmosphere.
Let's take a look at the regional as a whole. A lot of great teams. It's loaded, no doubt, this year. You have 3 teams in the top 10. Of course, yourself, West Liberty, Fairmont State are all part of that. We'll get into some of the specifics in a minute, but when you look up at how it stacks, what are some of the things that pop out to you just right out of the gate?
Yeah, I think like you said, I mean, I'm not sure that this isn't the best Atlantic region that we've seen. I mean, obviously it's good every year, but I look at our first matchup against a team that's number 1 in the country in effective field goal percentage offense, and that's, that team's an 8 seed. I think that we've got obviously a lot of teams in it that are routinely here and have a lot of experience playing in the region and coaching in the region. So, I think it's going to be an absolute gauntlet, but I think the PSAC West has been a gauntlet this year, and I hope that that's prepared us for it.
No doubt. And you look just back to last week at the gauntlet you had to run. You had to beat East Stroudsburg in the IUP to get to the championship game. And though I know you've moved past it in ways, let's just kind of think about and think back for a moment as to maybe some learning lessons I'm sure you took from the Cal game, in a game that was a 1-point game at the end. Went back and forth to the very end. Take me through some of the learning lessons that you're teaching your team from that game ahead of the regional opener coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only way we can look at it, is ways to learn. I thought that we had every opportunity to win the game, and we had opportunities to make plays, really specifically on the defensive end, that we didn't make, and they were able to make one more play than us. And I think that we've been able to learn a lot from the film. I know I've learned a lot from the film. I think our guys, just with talking with them and kind of seeing the way that they carried themselves going through it, I think that there's clear things that they've taken away from it and going, all right, we can't let that type of thing happen again in the way that we lost. But with that, again, like, we're playing great teams. Cal's a great team, and because of that, we have to execute at a different level.
Your season has been marked by the resiliency after you do lose a game. You only lost 3 all year, but the first time you lost a game, you went on a 9-10 game win streak. The next time you lost a game, you won 15 straight. Now you have a chance to win 6 more in a row and get ultimately to where you want to go. Take me back to that resiliency and what you liked from your team following losses earlier this year that you think you can replicate and duplicate going into the regional.
Yeah, I think obviously we've responded to losses well, the few that we've had, but I think the resiliency really shows in the stretches of winning. I think that winning consistently, winning on any night is hard. Winning consistently is really hard. So these guys have been resilient all year to be able to go in, night out, and win at the level that they have. So I think that's as much of a testament to these guys as their response to the couple losses.
Let's look at some of the guys that you'll hear the names of, and a lot of fans here already know who your guys are and what they've been able to do this season. But you've preached depth and the key to being able to rotate guys in and out in your time here, and in 2 years you've done that. Take me through the hope and the expectation from the depth of your lineup going into the regional tournament, something that when you've been playing well has really factored in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge piece for us, especially in weeks and weekends like this where you've got to win 3 games in 4 days. Having that depth to keep fresh legs on the floor is really important. We've had guys step up all year. We've had different starting lineups off and on throughout. But I look at, the luxury that it is to have a kid that, has started for us and really is a starter, like Lane Sarver coming off the bench that's, in year 4 of college, like a kid that's an all-conference player like Lucas Sakazi coming off the bench. And, it's a testament to who they are and not making a big deal out of when they get in the game, but the impact and how much they're in the game and things like that. And then you've seen different guys like Carter Walmsley and Julian Rivera and have little stretches here and there where they've made huge impacts to winning. Jaden Callaway is as much of a pest defensively as I think anybody in the country, and he's had great stretches. I just think that there's so much to the group of guys that we play, and again, I haven't even mentioned Mason Kemp, who's as important to our team as anybody.
Mm-hmm. You'll see all those people featured on Saturday when you play Charleston in your first game at 5 o'clock, one of 4 games on the day. You've got IUP Fairmont State, the noon game, 2:30 West Liberty, Virginia Union, and 7:30 is Cal against Fayetteville State. I'm glad I remembered all that. There's a lot in the brain this time of year. So pass to me on that. Let's talk about your opponent. You mentioned just a moment ago their effectiveness. When they shoot the ball, Charleston, more often than not, it's going in. They take really quality shots. Yeah. What are some of the things that you see on tape from them that really stand out to you?
Well, I think, to start, you see James Long as the coach that's just done a heck of a job. I mean, they just run really pretty stuff. They've got guys that are clearly bought into what they're trying to do. They've got a bunch of guys that really lean in onto what their strengths are offensively. So if they can spread the floor, you better believe they're going to find themselves in those spots more. If they can attack the basket, they're going to find themselves in those spots, and then they're going to play off of their strengths really well. They've got a bunch of guys that can fill it up from 3. They've got some guys that can score it out of the post and at the rim. They're going to run a bunch of really difficult actions to guard and bring a great challenge.
This is your 3rd regional as a coach, 2nd as a head coach. And we just mentioned you got to host one as an assistant. You were at West Lib last year. What is the key, if there's any extra keys or fundamentals that have to be even more buttoned up when you get to this point in the NCAA as opposed to regular season midway through the dog days of the winter?
Well, I think it starts with the still having a belief that we can still get better in these last couple weeks of the season. If we can watch the film that we just watched and improve off of that, attack practice this week and raise our floor one last time going into this thing. I've felt like we've been playing our best basketball for the last month, and I still believe that we can take one more step to really, really clean things up. And then if there's a key to it, it's making sure that we lean into the things that have got us here, not try and feel like we need to do something different than what we've done to be able to have this thing in Erie, and understand what, not just as individuals we're great at, but what we're great at as a team, and lean on that and build out of it.
Cannot wait. Men's basketball already set to host the Atlantic Regional coming up on Saturday are the quarterfinals, Sunday the semifinals, Tuesday the championship game. All that information can be found at our website, GannonSports.com. The men, of course, Saturday at 5 p.m. is their first game against Charleston, West Virginia. Make sure to come out, support the Golden Knights. And before that, watch our watch party at the UPick6 Tap House for women's basketball tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. All right, let's close this podcast with our top 5 plays of the week, shall we? No better way that we know how to than our top 5. We'll start at number 5, and this is aforementioned men's basketball. How about the Morgan twins? One to the other is always a good combo in the PSAC semi-quarterfinal game against ESU. McKenzie to Lucas with the throwdown jam. Golden Knights got the win in that game. Those two have been really fun to watch this season, no doubt about it. Here's number 4, women's basketball. This is late in the championship game, 4th quarter. First the steal, Brie Claxton, and the up pass, finding Kate Ratliff all alone. Golden Knight defense, Coach Wright said, can they get even a little bit better in the tournament? Well, they're already pretty darn good, and that is one of the many plays that they show why they're as good as they are. Here comes number 3. Take a look at Victor Desmond on this sequence of plays. First, he gets back. He gets the rejection on this opportunity for the layup for Cal. Next trip down the floor. This is not the same video, folks. It's a different play. Vic, 2 straight possessions with a rejection, and then he gets it to pay off after the miss from Lucas Morgan, who's going to come into your living room. None other than number 4. Puts it up and puts it in. Golden Knights going to use his state. We'll show you the highlights in just a moment. This team, I'll tell you what, is tremendous. This acrobatics and tumbling squad led by Coach Addie Womeldorf. This is highlights from their team event. The Golden Knights, very successful early on in the meet. They took the lead after just one event, and from there, they never looked back, beating a ranked Glenville State team 268-255, and that was just a few days after the Golden Knights nearly took down the second-ranked team in the country, Oregon, putting together a team-high, season-high score of 270-plus points in that game just a few days back. So well done by Coach Womeldorf on the Golden Knights. They were tremendous on their home floor on Tuesday against Glenville State, and this was the capper of it all. Team event done. You could tell the excitement in the air from the team, knowing that they had just done a tremendous job, and they certainly deserved the number 2 play of the week. Really just a conglomeration of what acrobatics and tumbling has been able to do. But at number 1, we just showed it to you a few minutes ago, Bella Phillips, making history at national championships, becoming the first ever Gannon women's wrestler to be an NCAA All-American. Her and head coach Aaron Vandiver with that special bond and relationship, and she just did a tremendous job, did Bella. This win over Genevieve Ann was enough to capture an All-American status, and Bella ended up becoming 5th at national championships. So congratulations to Bella. We hope to see her and more women's wrestlers at national championships in years to come. All right, that does it for our podcast tonight. Again, one final reminder that you can watch our women's basketball game with a watch party tomorrow here at the UPick6 Tap House. Make sure to bring yourself and all your other Gannon sports fans so that you can cheer on the Golden Knight women's basketball team against Edinburgh in the first round of the regional. Then on Saturday, you can make your way over to the Highmark Event Center at 5 o'clock when Gannon, hosting the entire regional, takes on Charleston, West Virginia in their first game of the NCAA tournament. We are back with you on the podcast right back here at the Tap House next week, Thursday the 19th. Right here with more United podcasts and so many more features, interviews, and more to come. Hopefully we have some even better news for you in terms of our team success moving forward. But Gannon programs, man, they're doing so well right now, as they always do. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday and have a very safe weekend. We'll see you all very soon.